what make us lose all that, blank page when we were first born? Yeah.
Well, we're not exactly a blank page. We have our genetics, and there's actually a large correlation between your parents' IQ and your IQ. So some of that is genetically determined. Also, it's determined by what educational opportunities you're given in life. Whether you read a lot or not at all, go to school or don't go to school, go to a good school or not so good school. All of that matters. And IQ actually seems to be pretty much set in childhood and doesn't change that much through your life. Emotional intelligence, on the other hand, is learned and learnable at any point. I just put an emotional intelligence program online so people can enroll in it themselves and do it at their own pace, because I believe anyone can get better. And do you have show notes?
Yes, yeah, we have 3.
Yeah, maybe you can put that in show notes for people who might listen, who want to help improve their emotional intelligence and do it in a self-paced way, do it on their own time and so on.
Thanks, folks.
Yeah. This year marks the 30 years anniversary of your book. And it took you about 10 years, 1 decade to do that research. And we wanna find where is that resilience coming from you, because a lot of people will drop the ball, drop the research when it's hard and it takes so long. For you, it takes like years before you got that book and research completed. Where did that source of strength coming from?
Well, I think I was always motivated, and motivation is very important in persistence, in keeping working toward your goal, whatever that goal might be. I was able to use some of the things I had done while I was a journalist at the New York Times in the book in a different way, but still I was doing double work, both for the New York Times and for the book. And the book was originally just about emotions in the brain. I saw an article in 1990 by Sullivan and Mayer called Emotional Intelligence. It was the first time I had heard the term. And I thought, oh, that would be a good name for the book. So I used it for the book. I didn't know the book would become so well known around the world. And the concept of emotional intelligence has become spread everywhere. It got a lot of pickup in 2 areas, in education and in business. And in business, it makes sense because people who are more emotionally intelligent in leadership position, for example, do better. They get more motivation out of the people who work for them. People are more loyal to them. People are more engaged when they do their work. And the same is true if you have emotional intelligence. You enjoy what you're doing, you connect with people more, you feel good while you're working. And I think the good news is that this can be improved at any point in life if you're motivated to do it.
Wow. What is open to listening?
Well, I suspect it's about keeping your mouth shut when other people are trying to communicate to you. Stopping and listening. Just stopping yourself, because a lot of us, don't do that. We carry on, and particularly if you're nervous in relationships, you'll carry on talking. And I find myself doing that occasionally, and so I have to stop myself and say, stop it now. Just stop. Just listen to what that person is trying to tell you. And listen deeper, because it's not just the words of that person. It's what's below the words of that person. What's that person really saying to you? By all their nonverbals, their facial expressions, their eye contact, their body language. What are they really saying to you right now? And it's beyond just words.
Wow. So assuming that we listen to ourselves, right? Then we understand our problems. the move into the actions also scary a lot of people. That's why we have an idea of what to do, but moving to doing something is always stop right there from the idea stage. Where can I find strength? Where can our audience find the courage to really do something and make the change?
You know, I think what's really important, I don't know if you do this with Vivian or not, but I do it with Rachel. And she doesn't realize how much she helps me. So I'll go to Rachel and I'll say to her, you said I shouldn't have done that at the dinner party or when we're out with friends. So what should I do? What should I have done?
Wow.
What do you think I should? You know, if you have a partner, I think that's part of the function of a partner, funny enough, to help you be a better version of you. That's a partner.
Mm.
And you reciprocate. You do the same with your partner. Going to somebody who you trust and value, getting advice for them. You know, I went into a meeting and I did that in the meeting and I think it didn't work. In fact, I think I upset the person. What do you think I should have done under those circumstances? Or your partner's with you at the time something happens. I think going to people whose opinions, who tell you the truth. And a marriage and a partnership should be with somebody who will tell you the truth, even if it's unpleasant to receive. So I suspect going to people that matter to you and saying to them, you know, that, and you have the kind of relationship where they're going to tell you, why did you say that at the dinner party, Cary? You should never have said that to Fred or something like that. And that's good. I don't like getting that kind of feedback. Nobody ever does, but that makes you grow. That's how you learn who you are, how you're seen by other people, and how you change your own behavior. You can only change your behavior if you get accurate feedback about what you're doing to other people.
So, General Duke, how have you been improved your ability to think over the years?
I think with more knowledge that you get, and the older you get more maturity, and you can analyze situations more rationally than now I can see that that happens to me in my life as I've gotten maturity and more experience, and I can relate these experiences to my present experience and apply the lessons that I've tried to learn in the past. And I think life is a building block of experience and relationships. And I found now that since I've become a Christian and a follower of Jesus, I pray more about, Lord, what should I do? And where should I go? And how should we operate in our life, in our relationships? And I've never heard the voice of God in my ears, but I had these impressions in my heart. So it's like God's Spirit speaking to our spirit in our heart. It says, go this way. You have an inclination that you ought to do this. And when sometimes I miss it, but most of the time it works out. So and Dottie and I, we pray a lot about decisions and what we should do and where we should go and what we should say, and it's all of these things that make us one, if you will, with God. And so it's been an exciting journey for the last 40 years or so. And,
Wow.
when we talk about journey to best self, we talk about being open-minded. We talk about no one can be their best self by themselves. It takes others to help them to do that. All of that, which is science-based now and is huge in our country, was I had the opportunity to play small parts in building something like that. So that's, it's long-winded, but that's, and I'm still on the journey. And I've been just very fortunate. But that journey, when I went to the business world, for some reason, I got to meet some amazing chief executive officers who did the same thing the coach said. I want you to work, of course I was still in the business school or the law firm. I want you to basically work with me on some things. And, and so I, had 4 or 5, world-class, very big companies having the CEO says, let's work together and figure out how to do some of this stuff. And it was all about how do we emotionally engage our employees. All those big coaches were very adamant about that. The people who work for me are people who I have to help them become their best self and be a happy person and be a good person and be a good worker, but a good family person, et cetera, et cetera. So I've had this conglomeration, and it's really, it's mind-boggling. And I'm sure people will be listening to it and saying, this is so weird. Yeah, it is so weird. But it goes to show that if we come to the table in a certain way, there will be lots of opportunities. Wow. And we do have control over what we bring to the table. So if you think about it, and there's other things I could have said, okay? I mean, I went to law school and got accepted into one of the top 5 law schools in the country, and I never took the law boards or never did a formal application. I got on the phone and talked to the dean, and we had a 45-minute talk, and he told me, I'll see you in September. Right? And so it's this ability to bring together, if you will, happiness is one word, wisdom's another word, human excellence is another word. I was just a hard worker, but there was something in me. There was a reason I lived, because as all the doctors said, you're the only baby this small that's lived this way.
Wow.
All the babies that were that small when I was growing up died. And so, that's the story. But the story is, and I'm just so grateful to all those people. I mean, the founder of Southwest Airlines was a client of mine. As an example, biggest, which was for a while the biggest and best, the founder of the Ritz-Carlton Corporation, all right, was one of the people that I worked with. I mean, people like that, and all of them, if you will, were, quote, spiritually oriented in the sense that, okay, not necessarily, being one church is better than another church, but it's like, how do we help people become their best selves?
Yeah.